All right, Amani, can you go ahead and read Professor B for us?
Yes. Professor B says, in my own words or just exactly?
No, read it. Just go ahead and read it.
Okay. American Sign Language is the native language of many North Americans. Therefore, it is not a foreign language. And for that reason alone, no student should be permitted to satisfy the university's foreign language requirement by learning it.
Okay, so let's stop here. This one is actually, there's so many things, good things we can talk about in this bigger picture than this question type. But let's start with Malika. What is our conclusion for Professor B?
That no student should be permitted to satisfy the university's foreign language requirement.
Yeah, did everybody agree with that, or was anybody kind of tricked by our sub conclusion here, or intermediate conclusion? Shelby, did you think it might be something else? No, she's like, no, I'm a main conclusion expert now. Okay, okay, so we were LSAT. What do you think they were trying to get us to think was the main conclusion? What were they trying to trick us with?
That it's not a foreign language.
Yeah, but look at us. We're so fancy where we're like, we know the main conclusion. We're not falling for that anymore. I'm so proud of all of you. All right, so we have what the first person said. And so now we're going to go ahead and go into our answer choices. And I want for each answer, I want you to determine if it's yes, just put a Y. If it's no, put an N. Or if it's I don't know, you can write I don't know or just cross it off. And so go ahead and do that for just the first person and give me a reaction when you're finished. All right, Shelby. A says, whether American Sign Language is the native language of a significant number of North Americans. Would Professor B say yes or no to that?
I'd say no.
Ooh, but what does our first sentence say?
Oops.
You're okay. So we would say yes to this, right? Like that's a fact. He'd be like, yeah, that's true. All right, what about B, Amani? What would Professor B say to that?
North American English. Well, I'm not supposed. I think no, because the fact that it says not English, because we didn't really talk about English.
Are there any North American? I would actually say I don't know to this.
Yeah.
Like whether any North American whose native language is not English should be allowed to fulfill the university's foreign language requirement by studying his or her own native language.
They didn't say anything about.
Yeah, because they say like no student should be permitted to satisfy the university's foreign language requirement by learning American Sign Language. So yeah, I would say I don't know to B. Does everybody agree with that? Like they said I don't know. Do you agree, Surya? Are you saying, do you have something else?
Wait, so then for this, I'm not focusing just on the conclusion at this point then, right?
No, it's anything. Yeah, remember how we kind of said like take everything as true?
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna say I don't know to that one. All right, what about C, Anna?
I was between no and I don't know.
No, this is a great one. So this is like, so does Professor B have an opinion on the idea of whether foreign language ought to be a class or not? No, he just has an opinion on what should be how we should fulfill it. So we can cross that one off. Yeah, excellent. All right, what about D? Sean, are you there? I know that sometimes you have to pop off.
Yeah, I'm here. I thought like he would not, like I don't think he would agree with it just because he wasn't even thinking about French and Spanish initially.
Oh,
they're not focusing on, I missed which one we were looking at. Yeah, they're not focusing on other universities.
Yeah, so we gotta cross that one off, right? Because we have no idea of whether he thinks other universities do this or not. All right, what about E? Let's go with Iman. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I thought this one was he agrees, yes or not? So it's a little tricky.
Fact that
but-
native language of many, whether the fact that a language is the native language of many North Americans justifies, yeah, he would say yes to that. Yep.
Yeah.
All right,
Right.
so look at this. So we already have crossed off 3 answer choices just by focusing on one person. So this helps us narrowing it down significantly. So Lindsay, can you go ahead and read Professor Sedley for us?
According to your argument, students should not be allowed to satisfy the university's foreign language requirement by learning French or Spanish either, since they too are the narrative of languages of many North Americans. Yet many students currently satisfy the requirement by studying French or Spanish, and it would be ridiculous to begin prohibiting them from doing so.
Excellent. All right, Gina, what would Professor Sedley say to A? Yes, no, or I don't know.
Let me read it over really quick. Sorry. Well, the answer choice. No.
So he would say that you don't think that Professor Sedley agrees that American Sign Language is the native language of a significant number of North Americans?
Oh, well, we don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, it's yes or I don't know here. So it does kind of hint at it because it says since they too are the native languages of many North Americans, I think that we could say yes to this. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Like it's I don't know. He definitely doesn't say no to that. So we can cross it off. Awesome. All right, Shelby. And then what would Professor Sedley say to E?
To be honest, I'm confused. I got to the right answer, but I don't really know how.
Okay, so let's dive into this. It says whether the fact that a language is the native language of many. So if a language is the native language of many North Americans, is that a good reason for prohibiting it from a language requirement?
No.
No. So Professor Sedley would say no to that, right?
Okay.
So if we're looking for what they disagree about, wouldn't the fact that we have a yes and no here be a point of disagreement?
Mm.
Are you
Yes.
following? Yes. Yeah. Awesome. So that's why our answer is E. And
Yeah, I got to that answer, but I think I'm having trouble with like the yes and no part
okay.
of
I
asking the
think
question.
maybe we need to no, and that is a little bit tricky to understand to start. And this one is a good example of you probably could have gotten to this answer choice without doing this approach, right? You're like, I could have predicted this and gotten to this. But the reason that we want to focus on it on the easier ones is because on harder questions, there will be multiple that you think are correct. These are a very commonly missed question type, surprisingly. But the yes and no, I get why that's confusing at first. So let's go ahead and try another.